That was awesome though, that Qigong.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's how my day was yesterday. It started out, and of course I like how this Thailand heat is. I'm up there by the beach or the pier or whatever. Near the water, I said, I'm in a perfect situation. Look what I did to myself.
Nice.
Spoiled.
So many nice spots on this island.
Yeah, and we live in a breatharian world. See, just like you read into that book, just explaining it to you straight up, and it's old, but you live in a breatharian world. People got to know that. That's priority. Everything else people been doing, that's another world that was created.
And it said the lung capacity of those humans back then was much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But then we shifted in developing the digestive organs and reducing it here. And they said we are meant to actually live more high up in the mountains because the air is more thinner and there's more fire.
Right, and also more light.
We're actually not supposed to live in the lower areas.
And also more outside
Yeah.
instead of in the cave all day. Oh, do you make sense, do it?
Yes.
I was in Nubia, which was southern Egypt, and the weather was like perfect, but their houses, half of the roof was like where you could see the open outdoors, and the other half was like bamboo. But the guy was saying, well, see, this got good air circulation.
Yeah.
He said people was coming down there with medical, what should I say, prescriptions to come live in those houses for a while. Because being up north, we got so trapped in those boxes, there's no air circulation, air conditioning.
At least put on the fan to have some
Something that simple. Man, you got to get a medical prescription. Somebody got to tell you to get outside.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But right now we in a full flower blue moon. Why is it so special? Why is it called that? Wow. Now technically, this is what's happening. A blue moon is when there's 2 full moons in 1 month.
Oh, yeah.
But you might say, okay, but we only got 1 full moon this month. Why is they calling it the blue moon? Uh-oh. All right, this is what's happening. So that's number 1. A blue moon is when there's 2 moons in 1 month. So now we got 1 full moon this month, but they're calling it a blue moon technically. The reason being is because we as humans, it's all about the circulation of the sun and the moon, okay, and how it travels through the body. That's number 1. We're going to get into that. But number 2, to bring it back down to earth, you got the 4 seasons. You got spring, summer, fall, and winter. 12 months throughout the year. So that means there should be technically 12 full moons within a year. But every once in a while, you'll get 13 full moons within a year. That happens too, so that's why you'll have sometime that episode where there's 2 full moons in 1 month. But this is still dealing with something else. So therefore, if you got the 4 seasons, 12 months, 12 full moons, each season should have 3 full moons. Each season. But this season, we got 4. So that's why they call this a blue moon. And it's the 3rd full moon, or the third full moon within that season, they call the blue moon. So this is the 3rd one for the spring. And this is technically called the blue moon. Because it just don't happen all the time, so that's why it's special. And what makes it good too is a full moon, what makes it special is of its energy. Now even though they got some things where they don't have it scientifically put out, to say, okay, the energy is high. People who works in emergencies, or even just by you living. Just by me living, I know that the energy is a lot higher on the full moon. Especially me being a meditator, I most definitely know it, those people who's on those type of levels. Know that the full moon, because what the full moon is showing is, it's showing you that the sun is around, because it's all about the movement of the sun. So it's reflecting the sun. Now all the other different phases of moon are showing you the different reflections of the sun due to where it's located. So if it's full like that, that means it's getting the full blast of the energy. So that's how we know, that's just common sense. The energy is higher in the atmosphere during this season.
Yeah.
So during this spring season of 2019, you got 4 full moons to take advantage of, energetically, for your health, for your growth. Now, what do we mean by that these energies actually affects the physical body? Now notice it's no coincidence. March was the beginning of the spring season. And March starts out dealing with astrology, Aries. And Aries is the head. The energy starts in the head. Then you got Taurus. It goes down. Then I believe you got Cancer. Then you got, you got Gemini, the 2 shoulders. Then pretty soon you got Leo, which is the heart. But this is no coincidence. When you deal with the 12 signs throughout the year, they will keep going down the body. The knees is Capricorn, and the fish is Pisces. Don't it look like a fish? And then the reason why it's called spring, because the energy springs back upwards to start over again. So there's 3 cycles that we are up under being human beings. And this is going to get into that book you was talking about. One is we're on the daily cycle. Daily, there's a daily cycle of energy that's going through the body, or how the sun goes through the hemisphere. Even your Muslims got the 5 prayers throughout the day. And that's tracking where the energy is at in the body, even though the average Muslim don't realize this. They wake up for the morning prayer. Wow, sunrise, the energy is already here. The pineal gland is activated. It didn't even ask our permission. It automatically started letting off a chemical called serotonin. And that detoxifies the blood throughout the day. That's why if you're going to eat, it's best to eat during the day when the heat is at the top of the body. When the sun sets, that's where the energy goes below the kidneys. So the digestive system shuts itself down. How can we say that? Because the energy is not where the vital organs is at. And we're below the vital organs. So now it's going through these hours of the day. That's why the word hour comes from the word Horus in Egypt. In other words, what hour is it? Where's Horus at? It all makes sense. These are no coincidence of what we're living in. And then you also got the horizon. That's another word for Horus. So it's all dealing with the calculations of the sun. Now, we got a daily cycle we must maintain.
So the 24 hours of the day goes slowly down the energy.
Slowly down the energy channels in the body. And if you was to go in Egypt, which I was, you got the 4-base pyramid, and throughout the day you can see the sun moving around each side of the pyramid every day, just like clockwork. And you got the center of the pyramid right there. Now, dealing with your physical body, this is the center. And no matter who you are, where you at, the sun is affecting you on how it's going around this structure. So it's affecting it, just like that. And those are people who know to make a sundial, which I did. I put it up, a stick in the ground, and you can track it every 15 minutes. It's moving throughout the day. That's automatically taking place. So if it's affecting objects like that, what you think it's doing to us? Absolutely. So it's moving throughout the body, the energy. There's a martial art called Dimak. And Dimak is when the practitioner finds out where the energy is at in his opponent at that hour of the day. So if you're fighting somebody, you'll know where to aim at to block the energy in that area. Or you could use it for healing. If you're a practitioner and say somebody's lower back is hurting, you will go at that hour where the energy is there. It's not far-fetched to look it up no more. This is why there's a chronological clock within the human. Every day now, you don't even need an alarm clock to wake up the time you wake up right now.
So it starts here at sunrise or at midnight?
This is sunrise.
Sunrise, okay.
Midnight is going downwards, but it happens every day and then it starts over again. Sunrise, sunset. And when it gets to the waist area, that means that the energy is not where the vital organ's at.
Yeah.
So a lot of people's eating at night, they got problems. They call me, I can't sleep at night, I'm having problems, acid reflux.
Yeah.
And I just say, stop eating at night. They don't even say nothing. That's why there's set times and cycles on when to do something where you could take advantage of the energy. It could be in your favor or it could be against you. Now let's get into that word full flower. We got the full flower full moon. The reason why it's called full flower is because it's the month of May. What they say, May showers, April showers, spring flowers, something, May flowers. But May is the month where flowers start blooming, wildflowers. So dealing with Farmer's Almanac and all of that, they'll tell you when the best time to plant stuff, when the best time to pick it up. It is off the moon cycles. So during this moon cycle, the full moon, they call it the full flower moon because everything is blooming. So if it's blooming, giving life, what it's doing to the human being, yes, you're being affected. So this is also the season. From spring, then you're going into what? The summer solstice, that's coming up, which is a real big time. But these are times of what? Photosynthesis, in a nutshell. Because this is where the seasons is at the top of the body dealing with the vital organs. So if there's any time period you're going to develop photosynthesis, this is the time period to do it. Now.
The best time to turn breatharian.
Exactly. There is a best time to become a breatharian.
Perfect.
By understanding your cycles within the universe. So not only you got a daily cycle, you also got a yearly cycle that you're up under. But we also have what we call the great year. Now, most of your ancient text talks about 2,400, 2,500 or 1,000 something years that not only we're rotating around the sun, but the sun is also rotating around the galactic core, or let's say the Sirius constellation. Now, why can we boldly say that? Because your three great pyramids in Egypt, and you got your Sirius stars that's up in the sky, they're correlated, matched with each other. A lot of your esoteric writings say that's where we actually were birthed at. You weren't birthed on Earth. So the further you get from it into its rotation in the galactic universe, that's when you went into the time of darkness. Yeah. It ain't had nothing to do with us. It was due to the light. 2012 was significant because that's basically saying we was making our turnaround going towards the Sirius. So as time going on, we went from the Bronze Age. Then you're going into the Sirius Age. That's how the light is going. So now we're in the Golden Age because it's getting even lighter. They're talking about global warming, but this is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It isn't negative. So that's why there's a reason why the breatharian knowledge is coming like wildfire. Free energy is coming like wildfire. Everybody's talking about it. And it's not going to quit. Whether you're a skeptic or not, it doesn't matter. All of it is fading. And the health message is coming more on the beam. And more people is talking about leaving alone the denser energies of meat. They talk about eating more fruits and vegetables, even the doctor's office. And health is on, everybody's talking about it, whether they're doing it or not. And we got a big pandemic on the planet called preventable diseases. And that's things that didn't even have to happen, but it's due to how a person is coordinating themselves within the light. So dealing with this photosynthesis season, when fall comes, the reason why it's called fall, because the energy in the body is falling now below the kidneys. Makes sense now. Spring, when it gets here, it's going to spring back up and start over its cycle. because energy runs in cycles. So now it's falling below the belt. So there's a preparation that must take place on two different levels. Now those who was in the northern hemisphere, because there is a northern hemisphere knowledge, their thing was, you ever heard about the grasshopper and the ant? The ant works consistently all throughout the year. But when winter time comes, he got all his food stored house. You don't need to see him. He got everything you need. The grasshoppers, he plays all summer, don't prepare. And then when the fall comes, you see him stuck on the leaf, and you can pop him. He didn't prepare. He didn't know how to take care of himself. And as soon as it got cold, he didn't have a place to go. He just played around. So a lot of people play around during these seasons, not preparing themselves. So when the fall season comes, there's two things they're going to do. If you're up in the northern region, if you didn't get enough food prepared to at least last for 5 months, right, some type of shelter, some type of fuel, you're going to be out of luck. Or there's animals who hibernate during that season. They still did a preparation. So these are the months, these summer months, where photosynthesis is taking place, free energy is everywhere, the molecules in the atmosphere is moving a lot faster, but everybody, no matter where you at, should prepare for the fall season, because the energy, by its nature, is going to leave the vital organs.
So how do you prepare as a breatharian?
And as a breatharian, now this is good. Now there's a reason why up in Europe, they got what you call the Christmas tree. That's a tree, no matter if it's wintertime or not. It stays green all year round. And people put presents under it, they worship it, that's what they're doing. And they got a star up at top. So those people who prepare for that, or that photosynthesis, you can continue, you understand. Now there's other things we add in. Oh man, this gets good. Now this adds in the other things when we talk about, this is a deep one, the sexual energy cultivation. Because that too, it falls below the kidneys, but that's the energy that maintains the body, because we were born of sex. That's why we're here. So if you was born in sex, the thing that's going to maintain you is sexual energy. So you don't spend it all over the place. It needs to be conserved, regulated, and used to feed the organs during that season. Did I say that? Yes, I did.
And what about people who live an unnatural life, like traveling with the seasons to the southern hemisphere, to the northern, so always go with where spring and summer is? They always have the energy up here?
Well, this is what gets good. There's a thing called jet lag. And that's where you travel too fast, going to another place. You kind of feel dizzy. Your body needs time to adjust to that new atmosphere. Now, our bodies are very intelligent. It does has a body intelligence. Now, back during the migrations of the past, that's why there's a thing called evolution. And that just means change. Our bodies was able to make changes at different places due to the atmosphere, and the body made those changes for health purposes. Now, since we're traveling a lot faster, the body's still making those changes, but now you need knowledge to go along with it. It will make that shift. But if you're a person that, say, for instance, let's use the number one thing that we all can see physically, and that's dealing with skin color. Let's take a person who's darkly melanated by genetics. That shows that they're from the equator. But they're living up in the northern hemisphere in the wintertime.
They're not getting enough sun.
They're not getting enough sun, so it could be bad for their health. They get depressed. So, but what they must do, that don't mean they got to move up out of there, because you got the knowledge now. They should at least force themselves to be outside during the wintertime no matter what, to try to get that out of the atmosphere on what they need. You just have, that's the price you have to pay. Same way with somebody from a northern hemisphere. That's the equator, where there's a lot of radiation and the body's not prepared to pick all of that up. So therefore, they have to be wise and don't be directly up under the radiation until at given times. Other than that, it could be bad for you.
Yeah.
That's knowledge now. We're dealing with genetics on a genetic level. But all of these things, but that's why they say you are what you eat. We say that on one level, but you are what your ancestors ate. And what that is just saying, there's an atlas of the body. It knows how to work on with the energy where it's at. But we need the knowledge now to coordinate with it. So again, your body is not stupid where, say for instance, you are one hemisphere, you said people who travel. Your body will adapt and adjust into the new place it's at. That's what it does by its nature.
So the energy stays up here.
Absolutely. It will shift where it needs to shift due to that new atmosphere. This is how intelligent the body is. But we have to allow it to do that. Give it time to do that, to set into the new atmosphere. Now, atmos just means vapor. Fear just means sphere, something to circle, those cycles we was talking about. Everywhere you go, there's a cycle taking place. And your body knows how to go into that new cycle. So just like we're talking about, we're in a daily cycle, you're also in a yearly cycle, but we're also collectively, we're in a galactic cycle. And that's what we're going into now. That's why I see like there's so much enlightenment, so much information coming. And that's just the light doing it. So we ain't got to worry about it. It's going to happen. Change is going to happen regardless due to how everything is traveling back into the light.
Yes.
Wow. So even the desire of the new generation, I had to give them a compliment one time about now you got a generation that you got more fruitarians than ever. More people who's fasting than ever. More people who's detoxifying themselves than ever. Way different than their grandparents and beyond. That is no coincidence. But who gave them that desire? That's coming from how the planet is traveling in its cycle. How the light is coming in. It's automatically putting that knowledge here.
Yeah.
Whoa. Even for me to be where I'm at, how I'm teaching. I didn't do this on my own. I was born to do this. To come out at this time. Get the information I got. So I can't even get the credit from it. It's going to keep increasing because I'm just living in a light. That's what's doing it.
Awesome.
This is what season we in. So now, during a full moon, how should you act during a full moon? Now, we being transceivers of energy, which means we're always transmitting and we're always receiving. This is what we do. We're energy beings. However, your thoughts are what comes off of you is very crucial because you do create your reality. Big time. So, since you know this is a high energy season because the full moon is showing us that the sun is around and it's giving this full blast because it's reflecting it. And we're made of mostly water. The moon affects water. We could go into all of that. So therefore, if there's anything during this season, think positive. If there's any goals you want to do at this time, this is the right time to start at least thinking about them. You're a creative genius. This is the right time to purge yourself out and detoxify yourself. And if you're already in a meditation, your meditation is heightened 1,000-fold just during this season. So this is great times to take advantage of the full moon seasons. And you should have such a great time on this time period, you can't wait till the next full moon comes. That's why in India they said there's a thing called ojas, that once a month, that the energy collects itself in the abdomen. And that once a month when a full moon comes, because have you ever seen that the dew's out in the morning and then pretty soon the dew start getting lifted? Now why did that take place? Because the sun is coming out.
Yes.
Once the heat hits it, it makes it lifts up. So that's why they say that's the best time to put a thought out, or that's the best time to pray. Because if the dew is going up into the mist, so is your thoughts being captured out into the universe. Oh man, this all making sense now. This is what level we got to start operating at now. So therefore, during these full moon seasons, since you're living your lifestyle, you're living it higher now because even your sexual energy, the cells in your body that's being used to create that sexual energy, whether it be male or female, See, they usually just focus on the male due to his sperm and stuff like that, because that's a germet that he has that a female doesn't make. But she still has proteins, carbohydrates, and everything else she has, you know, when she's dealing with that. And she also has the body makeup to weave another body for another human being. So it's very powerful on what's going on inside. So for her to even do that, to have that potential, the body is using its best cells, no matter what her lifestyle is, to create those fluids necessary, just in case that happens. So therefore, since you know your best cells is being taken part in this, you can start allowing it, for those who's on this knowledge, to dissolve itself back into the blood through a lifestyle. You know, if you're going to eat good foods, high energy foods, meditate. So when that time period comes, when the full moon comes, that high influx of energy, this is going to go upwards just like the dew that was on the grass and when the energy of the sun hit it. So all of that's coming back up to nourish the brain, to get into the cerebral spinal fluid circulation, and there's a vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve to go from the brain all the way throughout the body. And one of them it hook up with is the intestines. It goes to the heart. It goes to the kidneys. But when you got that fluid and you're working with it, it's going back into that circulation, and that start actually nourishing the organs. So on one level, a person who's food free, it's not like they're not getting nourished. See, we're still looking at it spooky. Your body is physically making everything it needs. It's been doing it. Where do you think your cerebral spinal fluid come from? You just think it's the same one over and over again? It's replenishing itself. It's renewing itself just like a river. But how is that taking place? We haven't even been thinking about that. Even the medical profession, this is why this is a good age we in. When you look up cerebral spinal fluid, they will tell you it comes from the atmosphere. It's being created in the brain. Right in the chambers. That's why in ancient Egypt again, they got that, what, eye of Horus. And that looks like the side of the brain. You see the different chambers. That's where it's made at. So your brain is sitting in the fluid. So not only is it sending down these goods of this package, coming down into the sexual energy, when it comes back up, it's coming back up magnified 100-fold. That's why they say if you've been, what, that story of Santa Claus coming down the chimney, and Claus, you got a claustrum in the brain, that's where you get the word Santa Claus. So he's bringing a present. If you've been good, he's going to leave a good present. If you've been naughty, right, ain't nothing going to be left. So he left a good package. And it's your job, being good, when this package comes up, back up, it's going to what? Come back 100-fold magnified. So therefore, when they talk about ojas, a person who's living this lifestyle, your eyes will start getting cleared up, your skin will start looking smooth, your body start regenerating itself more and more over time, because keep in mind, not only are you on a daily cycle, you're also on a yearly cycle. Year after year, you should get stronger. See, the old thing about aging was a person supposed to be breaking down and getting old. Not now. See, now we know that your bone, for instance, that's where the calcium is at. But when they do carbon dating, the reason why they know how old something is due to the radiation that's in it. So the more you in this realm walking around, the more radiated you get. So an older person is actually more radiated than a younger person, bone-wise. But due to the old knowledge, they let their physical body go down because they didn't know. But now, since we know to maintain it, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. This is why we talk about immortality. What did that book say you read? Humans was living way longer than now.
Many thousands of years.
Many thousands of years. This isn't far-fetched no more. What you supposed to die from? High blood pressure? Liver ailments? Cancer? Strokes? That's low frequency. That's not even in our reality when you're living on a pranic path. That don't exist. Did I say that? Yes, I did boldly, because it could be prevented. So now, what was I? Oh, about the radiation and the energy. So now, We was even taught, let's get the black body radiation. You ever heard of that scientifically? Well, what it's saying, there's a vessel, which this is that we live in. And this vessel is receiving all these frequencies coming through the atmosphere through it, but it's also transmitting it off. That's what we do.
Yes.
This is the vessel it's talking about. So therefore, as it's getting heated up year after year by living in this atmosphere, the energy is going up. So therefore, there's a thing called the changing of coloring of the hair. Now, we use the word white hair or gray hair. There's really no such thing as gray hair. It's actually start turning transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, due to the old knowledge that took place, hair don't turn gray, it grows gray. Now, listen at this. But due to the old knowledge, we put it with bad health.
Mm-hmm.
But now you look at some of the cartoons, let's take the number one, Dragon Ball Z. And as they started going Super Saiyan, getting more energy, they put their hair blonde. Boom. Now, as a person start aging, the hair start becoming transparent because the hair is not producing melanin no more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that don't mean that the person's not producing melanin, because all humans produce melanin. How do we know this? Because a person still could get a suntan. But since the vessel is getting more heated, this can't keep up no more, the antennas. So actually, transparent hair is stronger than natural hair. Go look it up.
Interesting.
It's an antenna. So since we got this new knowledge, this is where you'll see that wizard with the white hair, or the woman, the witch with the white hair. But that don't mean she look old like how it was. Now it'll be a young-looking person with the transformation, because the energy in the vessel went up, and it's going to happen regardless. And the more you work with energy on this path, and the vessel is getting heated,
My hair will turn gray faster.
it will grow gray faster.
Maybe I start eating again.
Right? We're not saying faster, because a lot of that is dealing with genetics. But it's going to happen regardless due to that radiation. That's all we're dealing with again, radiation and energy. And it has to keep up, so it's going to transform itself to get stronger antennas. And a transparent antenna is stronger than a natural one. Oh man, did I say that?
But the antenna only works as an antenna if you don't cut it regularly.
Well, on one level it's the pores also. There is some people, depending on how they want the energies to go into the body. That's a big issue. Some people say never cut the hair. Then you got some schools of thought that cut the hair. But that just changes how the energy flows, but it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's sort of like I wear a turban.
In the daytime you should wear it up and at nighttime down.
Right, there's many different schools of thought on how you want the energy or start using it for the hair.
Yeah.
But the hair is a good store of energy, not just on the head, also the beards for those who can grow it, under the arms and the different places of the body. They're there for a reason, and there's not much knowledge on it, but it's out there, when you could actually utilize that energy in those areas that the hair that grab and start using it, recirculating it back into the body.
Mm-hmm.
This is powerful, ain't it?
Interesting.
See, the cosmic energy is already here. Now it just takes self-knowledge on how to use it and what's taking place biologically.
So how do you use the stored energy of the beard, for example?
Oh, the energy of the beard. Well, most men grow a beard. There's women who do it too. I've seen a lot of them. And this comes from a chemical called testosterone, which is basically, what's that weightlifting word I'm trying to use? Steroid. Yeah, it's like a natural steroid. It gives the, sound of the voice, the broadness of the body, strength and all this. So it's like a natural steroid. Women has testosterone also. Just like, what's the one that women give off?
Testosterone.
Yeah, estrogen.
Estrogen.
And men give off estrogen also. But women just give off higher. So there's a biological difference on those levels, but that's okay. But dealing with this hair again, now there's a thing dealing with the beard. Now should I say this? This is going to be another lesson.
Okay.
I have to save it for this one, especially dealing with the beard.
Okay.
It was like the sun in itself. The sun and the moon rotation. But it is doing something energetically. That's why you got a lot more men going into the beard journey and talking about the gray hair again. You got a lot more women, especially because keep in mind, due to the economics, due to the money, there's a lot of women who are spending a lot of dyes, keep dyeing their hair over and over again. So a lot of women is waking up to that. You can look on YouTube, and it's called the gray hair journey. Thousands of them is getting into it more and more, writing about the books, It's Okay, Let Go. And we just caught into that, you got to look like you're 20 years old all the time. No, you don't. Because change takes place and allow the vehicle to be energetically stronger. So people are letting that go. This bringing so much freedom about. Why is that bringing for freedom? There was a lot of money wasted, a lot of time, and all you're doing is going to get your biology that's natural. And all what's natural, all it's going to do is just coming back to the surface. Dun, dun. So now people is questioning, why does it keep coming back to the surface? And you keep trying to alter it. So that's a whole nother ball game. It's sort of like there's a lot more people going into the curly head journey. But there was a big thing where people kept straightening their hair, their hair. But wait a minute now. Now they're finding out if energy runs in cycles, there might be something to the curly hair on how it's grabbing the energy. Why halt that development? So there's a whole lot of things that we're learning during this dispensation of time. Like never before, where people are coming into their own journeys, coming into their biology, so they can grow stronger energetically if you have that going into your favor. Is this all making sense? Oh man, this is good.
In the book I read, it said one guy who was a few hundred years old, he grew his hair from dark to gray and then again dark to gray, a few cycles.
Few cycles.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because dealing with these cycles, not only we in a daily cycle and a yearly cycle, this is what makes the pranic journey so good. You got the 3-year cycles, the 7-year cycle, 7 and 9. Why would I bring that up? Because even medically or scientifically, they'll say not only in a year most of your atoms is replaced, but most of your body is replaced during 7 and 9 years, even down to the bone. So if you can replace bone at that level, maybe you can replace a bone that was once crooked and you thought it was going to be like that, but now you know, since everything is so plastic now, you're into this new lifestyle, this new cycle, because the last cycle of a person, if you got a new stomach every 5 days, new skin every 27 days, and there's skin marks that's on you, why is the skin marks there year after year? That means that that person must be doing something wrong. But as we wake up to this new knowledge, if you can transform the skin and it's already showing you you could do it, you should be able to just get the whole new skin or the whole new bone. But that's going to take a change, a complete overhaul of a person's lifestyle and give it time over time, 3-year cycles. So that's why even dealing with immortality, see, the average person is in a death cycle. They're giving off that cycle. But if you stay on this path, there should be a time where it start bringing out off the life-giving cycle. It's sort of like living on prana. The average person can't live on prana. They stop eating right now, they're going to have problems. You have to stay in it long enough to where the cells actually start putting out another signal. That's why I make it look easy. I'm running around, thinking about it. But I've been doing this for a while. I've been on this path for 19 years. A person, the average Joe, ain't got nothing coming. But
at the beginning of your path, have you been a bit more weak, or have you been strong from the very first?
been weak. See, everything is about growth. If I was to get up here and tell you I've been strong from the beginning, then I would do you no justice. Because now we're going to get into that game again. Some people, they just special for this, special for that. Where anything that you're weak in dealing with stamina or willpower, those are two things you need. Even if you're weak in those areas, they can be developed. Did that make sense? To transform ourselves. But you do need willpower, and you do need some stamina. Stamina is just dealing with something that's difficult that you're going to be working with over the long haul. And that could be built. So that's why when I tell people about meditating consistently, this is the foundation. Stay consistent. The average person I meet, even though they say out of their mouth, I meditate every day, they're weak at it. I do retreats all over the place. They even admit it after a while. It's okay. Until we understand what this is about, and we got to develop it or tweak it. And those who are good at it, they can add to their game a little bit. But many people are not good at it because it's a loose word. There's so many things that can take your attention. There's the monkey mind. And the weakness is we're professional eaters. You've been eating all your life. So of course everybody's going to start out weak. You either develop a favorite food. Mine was avocados once upon a time.
Mine too. Avocado addict.
Yay! So that wasn't easy at first. And the great cosmic joke was, when I did finally broke free from that years, I ended up going to this island where I was staying at in the Canarias, and this number one produce, or number two, was avocados. All over the place for free. And I'm looking like, wow. But it don't bother me now, but that was the cosmic joke.
Even now, if I think about eating guacamole or avocado, I don't want it.
Right. That just shows growth again. So nature shows us growth. So that old thing of dealing with instant gratification, that's what people look for in the West, or people getting instant enlightenment, those days are over. Because people got away with murder back in the time with darkness. You know, they saw Jesus, he came and talked to them. Some angels with wings came and talked to them. Okay, why they come talk to you, but they didn't come talk to nobody else? So we could get out of that now. This right here is a science that's user-friendly for everybody. And what makes science so good, you should be able to put your findings on the table, and you should let everybody pick it apart to see what's wrong with it, see where you stand, see does it work. And we're saying, yes, we're in the age where there's sun benefits. It works. You got the vessel, put yourself up under it. These different meditations we're doing, they work. Put your vessel up under it. Work with these things. I could go on and on. Breath work, it works. So we know these things now. Yoga works. There's a science behind yoga. And the thing about the great cosmic joke about yoga is just the third level of it is telling food freedom. But look how yoga is all around the planet. What do they do? Rip that out the page?
Where does it say it's food free?
Well, you being from the West, the only thing that was given to you that you got a hold of was the asanas. Asanas, little breath work here and there, and throw a few apples in. Go play with that. But when you get to India, where there's the hub at, I was at an ashram, and their Kriya Yoga that they was into, the third level, was where hunger and thirst should decrease right off the rip.
Third level of Kriya Yoga?
Right. Not just Kriya Yoga, but I was just bringing that up. It should be in all yogas because all yogas should lead to the same thing. What should it lead to? If it's saying union with, what is it talking about? You should be self-sustaining.
True.
That's it.
True.
No matter if it's Hatha, Kriya, we're going on. Kundalini Yoga, it don't matter what it is. It should lead to the same thing. Union with what? What was your union with? That's it. So therefore, that's the tree of life again. The tree of life should be self-sustaining. So like I show people my body, how it's made up. This is coming from years of holding in the sexual energy, the light, and the body start transforming itself, making new energy pathways over a period of time. Because you're holding it in. You're doing the meditations. So it's just like building a muscle where it got to get bigger, the energy needs to go somewhere. So it starts making new energy pathways so it can bring more light to it. It does it on its own. But you have to put it into that type of position so it can make these transformations. Does this all making sense? So, during this full moon season, and it's going to happen at night at, I think, oh, look at this time, I think 9/11. No, it's,
No, Italian time is, I think, 5 something.
yeah, 5 something. Where did I see 9/11 at? Oh, something else.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was something else I was looking at. But this evening, here since we're in Thailand, the full moon is coming in, so there's going to be great rituals all over the planet, some good, some bad. That's people for you, but everybody's going to be running around active. And the full moon is so special too energetically, and it also deals with sexual energy. That's why they usually show you a romantic moment where a man and woman is probably eating under a candlelight dinner, and they show the full moon in the background. Then they got a thing called the honeymoon. All of these mean something. This is a great time period for those who's in the know to take advantage of the energy to manifest things that they really want to do, or to see what direction they need to go, or to contemplate. That's what it's for. Because you're already in the matrix energetically. So the energy is already a given of being high. But we just have to take advantage of it. Don't let the energy take you. So again, we're on a good track, because when you prepare for these full moons, you should prepare for, whether if you're food free or not, you should fast during that season to get the body purified. The less toxicity, the easier the energy flows. Plus you can think more, a lot better. You should be more relaxed during the season. Just relax into it. That's all you got to do. Let the energy pass through, and also, last but not least, think positively and take advantage of the season. Whew, this is good, ain't it? So we're going to have a good time now. We're in the right place. We're in the perfect place. Perfect season.
Yes.
Photosynthesis, and this is what the trees are showing us. And like I said, we've been doing ourselves a great injustice with the last idea, but since we're coming more into the light collectively, and we can make a plan, now we know we could, photo means light, synthesis just means combining, putting things together. So now we had a person to say they're in a holistic lifestyle just because they're in a diet. But you can have a lot more benefits if not only you have a diet, just say if you added in a meditation, you added in some exercise, you added in some breath work, you lost some weight. Right. Put all that into the package. You'll have a whole nother dynamic of a being that's coming forward. And this knowledge isn't far-fetched. The light will take care of itself. All we got to do is become aware of it and just grow into it. And it's a given. And energy loves to move upwards. Now, what does that mean? If you were to push somebody off of one of these rocks, gravity will take over. Now, the problem isn't when they're falling. You don't feel nothing. The situation is going to take place is when you land. So when you land, boom, feet hit the ground, immediately there's going to be a shock wave of energy. It's going to come up from the feet all the way up through the body. Now, depending on how far you fell, we ain't going into that. It could be a jump off of this rock or a jump off of 2 feet compared. But that initial impact on the earth, that shows you that energy is automatically going through the body. Now, if you feel it in the knee, boom, or the back, wherever you felt it, that shows you another force that kicked into play. That's called entropy. Entropy means when things fall apart. Uh-oh. So there's 3 forces that we as human beings are always dealing with. We're dealing with the impact of gravity that's keeping us to the earth. You're always being pushed down. That's number 1. So that's why when a person eats a whole lot or is overweight, they're fighting against gravity. They are. Heart got to work harder. All this stuff is taking place. So therefore, even when we're doing this exercise, notice that each time we do it, when we keep the hands up, you can keep it up a little bit longer. You can feel it. You're getting stronger energetically, but gravity, it didn't change. Your energy or how it's flowing is changing. It's still pushing down on you, but it's a whole different ball game now.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got energy or impact that's always taking place that's moving up the body. So you got the gravity that's pushing down. You got an energy that's pushing up, a force constantly. And then you got entropy. That's just a term that's used that things are always falling apart. That's why they say you die daily. What do they mean by that? You're falling apart all the time. That's why you're always a new person. You're always breaking up, and you always be putting yourself back together. That's wild, ain't it? So these three forces you're constantly dealing with. That's why if you're looking for to be in a position or a way in a pristine universe, it ain't about looking for it like that. You're always going to run into forms of imbalances, but your body does a natural balance in that called homeostasis. It always balances things out. It's good at getting rid of toxicity. So you ain't got to live in no closet like that. So it's always going to be under some type of resistance or breaking itself apart to put itself back together again. So that comes with the territory. It's just that some people's problem, they're dealing with too much entropy. Not realizing what's going on. You got gravity pushing on you. You got energy pushing upwards. And you're in the middle, this conduit. And then you're constantly dealing with this entropy that's breaking things apart. And since you're coming into this knowledge now you can start taking part with it because it's going to happen regardless. Uh-oh. That's why there's good sitting positions. Just by sitting, there's a better way to bring energy into the body. There's sleeping positions. But the main one is just be relaxed. Notice that all meditations, no matter what they is, they all say first get into a relaxed position. That's it. Because the more you relax, the energy that's automatically just going to rise up, and you all got the force that's coming down on you, and you got the entropy that's taking place in the middle. So usually when I'm showing people this Qigong, they'll be stiff in different places. That's the blockages. That's taking place in the etheric body. So the more you loosen up the etheric body, now let's don't make the word etheric far-fetched. You got the earth principle, water. What's the next one? Air, fire, and then last but not least, you got plasma. Or let's go into the four phases of matter, how molecules work. You got physical matter, you got the liquids, then you got the gas state, then you got the plasma. Let's go that route. You're going to work with those four states all the time. We're already working with them. And the body is the earth, the most dense. And it's okay. But when the earth overfloods the fire, it puts out the fire. So that's why death is caused. But the more you balance out the elements, keep the earth where it needs to be. Keep the fire where it needs to be. Keep the air where it needs to be. All this stuff and harmonize nature, everything goes smoothly. All these elements taking place here, but you don't see one dominating the other. It shouldn't work like that. This all making sense now, huh?
Yes.
Because you're working with nature, because you are nature. So you must learn the rules of nature. And the more you learn the rules of the game, the easier things go. Now it sucks to play a game where you don't know the rules and you're losing all the time. You don't want to play the game after a while. And I hate to say it, there's people all the time that do a thing called suicide, where they got tired of playing the game. And there's quick suicides and there's fast suicides. See, just because a person quickly took themselves out of here, we label that as suicide. But there's some people who's living lives, why does they keep doing that bad habit, knowing that that's killing them?
They kill themselves slowly with their habits.
Killing themselves slowly. Because they don't know no other way.
Putting toxins in the body.
Absolutely. So that is a slow suicide. Oh no. So the blue moons and these other events, we could take advantage of these, but we just have to be aware energetically. See, a person that lives on prana and a person don't. A person who lives on prana knows more about energy work and how it works and their relationship to astrology. You are everything that's happening in the cosmos is also taking place within you. No ifs, buts, and ands about it. So as the sun is traveling throughout the day, it's somewhere